The supporting actor category is a really interesting one, I think. So I want to start with Aaron Taylor-Johnson. This is his first BAFTA nomination for Nocturnal Animals, and it's kind of a different role than we've seen him do before. You know, normally he's either the hero or the anti-hero at least, and this time he is the out-and-out villain. Do you think that he deserves to be in this category?
To me, it seems a little strange to point at that guy and say, I think he's doing much better than that guy, when the other guy is Michael Shannon.
I wonder if it's because we've seen Michael Shannon play this role before. I mean, he's excellent at it, better, I think, almost than Aaron Taylor-Johnson, I'd agree, but we have seen it before.
Aaron does a sort of very wild performance in there, which I think is great for him. I've always wanted him to kind of cut loose a bit here, and he does do that. It's kind of ego, libido. There's a lot of stuff going on in Aaron Taylor-Johnson's performance.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It's a really tough watch.
He's pretty tough.
Out of all of those.
Very tough. He also does the thing which you never see in movies, is someone actually going to the toilet.
With that scene, I thought, well, as soon as you've got your trousers around your ankles, you're there holding a conversation whilst in the middle of your toilet. The director's put you there. You're getting all the glory.
And he's on the phone as well in this scene.
But he did go through like a real physical transformation for this. You know, his body type changed. You know, he was really kind of buff and meaty and heavy and scary. I keep going back to scary.
I think this is him sort of growing up almost now he can do anything else after this.
He's shedding the teenager.
Yeah, and I think that's what a supporting role can do. As I mentioned with Nicole Kidman, it reboots and refreshes. That's what we've got here. Whether it's a winning performance in such a strong category, I don't know, but he did it at the Globes.
Mahershala Ali is another actor who is here for the first time. It's for his first BAFTA nomination for his turn as a drug dealer in Moonlight. Again, you know, it might sound like a stereotype, but actually it isn't a stereotypical role. And he's not in the film a great deal, but his presence lingers.
Absolutely. In terms of time, I mean, I think he's in the film for 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. I mean, it's a chunk of the first third of the movie, but actually his presence, you know, both the character and the actor, they colour the movie, they dominate the movie, you know, and actually you see that character kind of reoccur. For people who see Moonlight, they'll see that character and Mahershala's performance kind of circle back, you know, into the end of the film. I think it's a wonderful performance. He's one of those actors who's clearly been working steadily and working very well for a long time. He's suddenly now visible. It's not just Moonlight, he's also in Hidden Figures. There's a couple of other movies that are coming out this year. I think he's a huge star. I mean, I wonder sometimes whether you can give the rising star to an actor of his age. Yeah. He's enriched that character. If you listen to Mahershala Ali talk about the character, you know, actually, so he's Cuban, he's not African American. He's dark-skinned, he's always sat outside the Cuban community, he's never quite fit. None of that stuff is referred to in the script, but it's all there in his performance, and it all makes perfect sense when you hear him afterwards. You don't have to hear Mahershala Ali's interviews for the performance to be wonderful. It's just that you know there's this huge foundation behind it.
Do you think it's a performance that, you know, it is a supporting role, but do you think it's a performance that will pave the way for a leading role in the future for him?
Oh, I very much hope so. Like this is one of those roles where you watch the film and you say, oh, it's him, and suddenly we've got a name.
It's big on TV with House of Cards.
House of Cards, he was terrific in. Again, a supporting role, but he kind of made his own. Also, Free State of Jones earlier this year, and he was tremendous in that. This feels like he's very much having a moment, and sometimes a supporting actor is about a moment, and I think he seizes it in Moonlight. He dominates the early parts of that movie, and you think might even be about him, this film.
You know, there's a scene where he's teaching the young boy Sharon to swim, and he was actually teaching him how to swim.
Right.
And I think that's just a really lovely little moment that shows actually this is a role for him that it wasn't just about acting.
I mean, people can search it out on YouTube. I mean, there are clips of him talking about the movie and talking about the role where he breaks down in tears, and it's very, very authentic. You know, I mean, actually, this clearly meant an awful lot to him.
Dev Patel has been nominated for his role in Lion, and he is another one who is kind of breaking free of the shackles of his youth and even those kind of comedic restraints afforded to him by, you know, the best exotic Marigold Hotel. This was like a really quite mature role for him. Would you agree?
As you say, he's managed to kind of keep finding roles, keep pushing forward, and growing up on screen. I mean, he was kind of a geeky performer in Slumdog, and in The Best Exotic as well.
Yeah, and that doesn't come through at all actually in Lion.
Well, he's physically brawny. I mean, actually, there's a moment when he first appears on screen. There's a jolt anyway, because we've seen that character as a much younger boy, and then suddenly it's Dev Patel. Little Dev Patel is suddenly this big, brawny. You know, he's a young man. You know, and you see that, so it's smart casting. And the kid in Lion is absolutely astonishing, absolutely wonderful. It's one of those brilliant young child performances. So for Dev Patel to not be completely blown off screen by his younger self from half an hour before, that's quite something.
From one actor who is kind of on the up to an actor who was almost semi-retired, but was kind of enticed out of retirement by Stephen Frears, and this is Hugh Grant in Florence Foster Jenkins.
The thing is that he's a cherishable actor when he's on form. When he turns up and delivers it, he's great. I mean, he can do it in Pirates for Aardman, and this is probably the best he's done since then. In a way, yes, working with Stephen Frears, it's working with Meryl Streep that forces him to raise his game. I mean, I think you just need to challenge Hugh Grant sometimes. And I think Sinclair Bayfield is a great part for him. It's kind of grantish. He's this kind of failed Shakespearean actor, and already that gives Hugh Grant, well, he can really inhabit this role. And he does, and it's got relish, it's got kind of a bit of, dialogue flourish that he can kind of get the tongue around. Yet it's also got a bit of an emotional sort of depth to it. I mean, there's an argument to say that he's a leading actor as well in this, and he kind of facilitates Meryl Streep's delusion rather sweetly, whilst operating in a delusion of his own. We're never quite sure if he's going along with it because he's kept in kind of a gilded cage in this Fifth Avenue apartment, or is there another motive going on? So it's a very nuanced part.
It was the role that he was born to play. I mean, he looks, of course, like he came out of the womb in white tie and tails.
Well, yeah, because he's so good at playing that quintessential British character,
so.
and he's done it in so many guises, and yet this is still one that we haven't seen properly.
There is something here, Hugh Grant doesn't do things lightly, and there was a wit here, and there was something he could get hold of. It was definitely worth turning up for, and I'm very glad he did.
Which leads us on very nicely to Jeff Bridges in Hell or High Water. He's just been nominated for supporting actor.
And I'm glad we get to talk about Hell or High Water because it had fantastic word of mouth and people were having a really good night at it. It was just a really intelligent American Western. It's a great Jeff Bridges performance. I mean, Jeff Bridges, he literally turned up, so the way the film was shot, Chris Pine's half of the movie was shot, and then Chris Pine had to go because Star Trek was calling. There was one overlap, and Jeff Bridges kind of came over, and then Jeff Bridges' schedule was much freer, and he came and he shot for several weeks, and you can see that on screen, you can see, and the movie breathes, and Jeff Bridges is a key part of that. And Hell or High Water, there's this tension to it, and a sense of menace and kineticism and threat. And Jeff Bridges is the air in its lungs. Jeff Bridges is the guy that you want to hang out with.
And him and his sheriff have a great relationship as well. It gives the film an emotional heart. It is great to talk about this film, Hell or High Water, because I do think it's the one that you tell all your mates to see.
It's being directed by a British director as well, of course, David Mackenzie. And this is a very American film. It's a Western.
You would never have thought of him to make this or come up with it. He's in love with the mythology of the landscape and cowboy movies, but he's brought this kind of sort of very now kind of sort of economic hardship to it.
So, who is going to win the BAFTA? My money is on Mahershala Ali.
I think it should be Mahershala Ali.
I think it might be Aaron Taylor-Johnson.
Ooh.
I'm not much of a bookie, but I would assume if Aaron Taylor-Johnson can go and win in America, the idea it maybe come back to Britain, I think it should be Mahershala Ali.
So join us on the 12th of Feb to find out who the winners are.